Cool. Well, it's official. We are live. Greetings, my friends. It's Sid with the Huge Convention. I've got Michael Grigery on live. We were just chatting before we started to hit the live button, and we're talking about you. You said you just went hiking through Yosemite. Were you there for a while?
7 days. It was my first time. My wife actually says that she grew up in Yosemite. What that really means is she traveled there several times as a kid, so she knew all the hot spots and all the places to go. But it was really fun. I have a 4-year-old. He hiked 8 miles. 2,000 feet of vertical climb, completely without any help whatsoever, by himself. Just crushed it. It was amazing. There's also like this, it's called the swinging bridge. It doesn't swing anymore. There's a bunch of older kids and adults jumping off this bridge into the water. He was like this close to doing it. And I was like, my 4-year-old hikes 8 miles and jumps off bridges. That'd have been pretty sick.
That's cool. What's the big wall there? El Capitan, right?
Yeah, El Capitan. Yeah. And it's like another world. You don't see rocks that big anywhere. Yeah. And especially like hiking and looking from the different viewpoints. It's crazy.
Yeah. Two of the guys that used to work for me years ago, they did most of our high-rise window cleaning. So they loved to rappel. They were rock climbers, and they did an annual pilgrimage to El Cap, and they would climb it. It would take 2 days, and they would sleep on the wall. Mm-hmm. And it was just, to me, that is just, like, it's very exciting, but insane. And
you can see that. Yeah. So like exiting, you're going like really close to it. And I brought my binoculars, and you can see people just like climbing, and then some like just tents just sitting there, people resting or hanging out. It's really popular. Really popular. That's
like, in high-rise world, we teach the guys and our training. So you got to trust your equipment. Like, otherwise you'll be in fear, and the equipment is safe if you rig it correctly and all that. But the idea of, I don't care how much I trust the equipment, I'm not going to cot camp and sleep 800 feet up on the side of a brick wall. It's just not
trust to a whole other level right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's why
I did not do that. That's extreme. I did not do that.
Right. And then, of course, I had to ask the question to the guys. I'm like, so, I mean, you're up, like, when do you go to the bathroom? Like, you just go off the side. I'm like, I don't want to be the next climber coming up the wall.
4.
Yeah.
What? Never thought about that. He said, thank you for bringing that to it. That's interesting.
Yeah. Now we have a visual to go with the, never mind. Wait, let's do this. I need to click the button. So we have the banner going. I want to stick it up on a banner. Hey, some folks are jumping in live. Thanks for jumping in and joining us. I've got Michael Grigery from ClickCallSell, and and I apologize. I just call it Lead and Chill, but there's more to the name.
Oh, Hire Lead Chill. Yeah. I'm affiliated with a lot of different Hire Lead Chill. Yeah. Dan Platt and I partnered up together, wanted to have a business. And so we acquired Hire Lead Chill, which is a recruiting company doing recruiting for home service businesses.
Right on. I just put it up on the screen. Is clickcallsell.com. Is that correct?
It is correct. Yes.
Cool. I want to make sure to have that on hand so we can say it and promote it while people are jumping in and learning. So when you come in live, go ahead and post in the comments. Just say hi and let us know you're here. We're going to chat and we're going to learn. Mike, I've got some specific questions for you so you can teach some stuff that's going to help people.
Love to.
Hold on. Looking for my little pre-made. There you go. Say hello in the comments. How friendly is that? It make you feel good?
Makes me feel real good.
There you go.
The quotes around hello.
Yeah. Hello. When you jump in, hit the like button for Michael, like show him the love. You can hit the heart button too. That's 100% cool. And say hi in the comments and share this into a couple feeds. And if you share it, you'll be eligible to win a ticket to the huge convention in 15, 20 minutes when we get that rolling. So let's go all the way back in time. I've got on my notes, you've got experience for bootstrapping and from billions. So you worked with the Neighborly brands, which is one of the largest franchising home service businesses in this side of the Crab Nebula. It's in the universe, maybe bigger than anything else in the world. That's $1 billion company, and you cut your chops there. And you've also bootstrapped. Your notes say you started ClickCallSell with $300 and grit.
I did. You know a lot about me, Sid. That's impressive.
Wow.
Yeah. So I learned a career's worth of information from Neighborly. I had the opportunity to be a brand manager, consultant for brand strategy, sitting in the room with annual strategy meetings with multiple brands, and just some of the smartest people in the home service industry. One thing I got away from toward the end of my like corporate career was I stopped helping individuals. And that was always my passion, is to help small business owners like grow. And with franchisees, that's what it was. I mean, they're like, they're not full on entrepreneurs, but it's entrepreneurship light when you own a franchise. And I loved it. I loved it so much. And then going into strategy, it was more about like helping really successful people become more successful. And it became less about the individual and more about the brand. And so that's one of the reasons I wanted to start ClickCallSell, is to get back to just helping individual small business owners, not just from a lead generation standpoint, but just home service, like business in general. I like to do profit coaching, especially like gross net profit coaching. It's one of the reasons I'm a Conquer coach, is just to kind of give back and serve all the knowledge that I collect every day and just give it back to the people in my tribe.
Okay. Yeah. Excuse me. That's really cool. It's interesting. So let's talk about franchising for a minute. Not from the perspective of you should buy a franchise, but in franchise level systems and processes, SOPs, is what you generally, and you can correct me on this, but generally my opinion is that's what you buy when you're buying a franchise.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The brand is done. The stuff is done. You just like follow the formula and still works, but you call it entrepreneurship light. Could you relabel it and call it entrepreneurship sane? Because you're not making it up from scratch.
Yeah.
Or like, how does it compare and contrast? Because you've worked with both.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it's a different kind of person that's goes into franchising, generally speaking. Of course, there's anomalies, but the 80-20 rule, heard you talk about that a lot. 80% of the people have the background or the experience, which has gotten them to a financial point where they don't want to bootstrap and start from the very beginning, right? They don't want to have to go get the logo and the website and the vehicles wrapped and figure out how to sell and the operations manual, etc. So they get the franchise so that they can expedite their success.
Yeah.
One of the things that I noticed in franchising is there's a certain like avatar of person that just typically works better in franchising. And that's somebody that is just really comfortable with people and comfortable with sales. Those people that can do sales is like, it's really hard to teach somebody from not knowing anything about sales to being really good at sales. Whereas the operational infrastructure piece is pretty easy to pick up and learn. Just, follow the rule book on that one.
Okay. Interesting. And I love what you said. You kind of, your passion or your heart is to help people, individuals.
Mm-hmm.
And then when when you're in charge of, like, not brand ambassador, but, at a different level, you were looking out for the brand, but not helping the people directly. So what led you to leave the corporate franchise world and then go into the silly entrepreneur world and help all us crazy folks that like think we know everything? We do.
Mm-hmm.
And
I know you do. Yeah.
We learn start from scratch, and please don't tell me how to do it. But then after a couple of years of getting beaten up, you're like, oh my God, I just thought I was going to go clean windows, and the business is a different animal. So Michael, help me. How'd you get into that?
Just seeing the struggles and how consistent the struggles are across the board. People, hiring talent, and you just getting into the routine of being able to establish a goal, knowing all the different components from a personnel standpoint, a system standpoint, a monetary standpoint, profit standpoint, all the different components that kind of go in together to building a successful business. Yeah. And people just get stuck in the same place. They always get stuck at their gross margin, which is how much it costs you to actually do a job. And then culture, building your company culture so that you can attract and retain the right quality of person. Because as you scale, and you've done it, Sid, that you just become a hiring and training recruiting machine. Just bring people in, get the busy season done, go down to the slow season, and just fluctuating up and down. And that's consistent across almost every industry that exists in the home service space.
Yeah. So how can people get over the idea that, and maybe I'm just the dumb guy and I believe this and nobody else does, but I thought for years, and how can we get over the idea that I'm going to find my perfect employees and keep them forever?
Well, a couple of things. One, a really good friend of mine named Charlie came to me he was a very opinionated, awesome franchise owner. And he's like, being a technician is a dead end job. And at first I was like, that's so messed up. Why would you even think that? Because what kind of person are you going to attract when you say it's a dead end job? The other side, I think that what his intention is saying that there's only a certain number of technicians you can actually have. And the person the technicians report to is your operations manager. And so you're probably like 8-to-1 if you're that ratio. And so there are so many soft skills that you can teach inside your company that will allow people to have a lateral or a vertical move to another job. And I see that just fear of like holding on to the fear of loss, when if you're cleaning windows or washing houses or grinding concrete or hanging lights, you probably don't want somebody to do that for their entire career, because if you do, they're not growing, they're not advancing. But communication, teamwork, responsibility of just having the job, the skill set of teaching, training other people, all these skills are transferable. And if you can create that kind of machine in your organization, it's going to become contagious, because everybody wants to grow and get to that level where they can leave. And that becomes your success stories. This person went here and made this much money. This person, so these skills that they're learning become transferable to make more money in their career. And that is a culture that people want to be a part of.
That's very cool. All right. So more people are jumping in live. You jump in live, please. Thanks for joining us. That's really cool. Appreciate you having your time with us. I've got Michael Grigery from ClickCallSell. He's a wealth of information. He understands how to build a brand that will attract your customers like a magnet. And we're going to give away a ticket to the huge convention. That's about a $300 value in 15 minutes or so. So please say hi in the comments, and we're gonna pick Michael's brain a little bit more. So I had a big shift in my company when it comes to hiring and hiring the right person. I was like, I went from trying to, like, every single time I hired to hit a home run to, like, if I could have an average term of 2 to 4 years, our technicians, then that would give us unity and consistency in the company. And one of our core values is always be learning, always be growing. Well, not everybody has the goal of being a technician for life, or even staying with the company for life. They're in college. They've got a different goal, and we want to set them up for success and make be a part of their path so that they're better for having been with us. And when we made that shift to, like, me treating it like I'm training future leaders, it made a vast difference. People stay a little bit longer, but not, it's like 2 to 4 years is really good. And but they learn along the way, and they're more loyal to the company, and they love us when they move on. So I'm sorry, I was supposed to ask you a question. I sat there and gave
you said the same thing I did, more eloquently. So you want to build a culture that allows people to thrive and advance in their own personal and professional lives. And if you do that, you'll have a great culture.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you specifically about your topic for your time at the huge convention. So you're going to be speaking in one of the breakout sessions, and I looked at the topic. It's like breaking through the noise, turning a brand into a customer magnet. Turn your brand into a customer magnet. I want to have you talk about that. And I think it's so precisely aligned with our keynote speaker, Donald Miller, from building a story brand.
Huge story brand fan. Yep.
Yeah. So let's go.
Okay. So I've been doing digital marketing for home service businesses for 14 years, which is crazy. I know I look super young. Don't say anything. And so much has changed. Like, it's unbelievable what you were doing to generate leads 14 years ago at the kind of the beginning when Google really started to take off to now. And through ClickCallSell, my agency, I've just had the enormous privilege of working with several Conquer coaches, more 7-figure businesses than I can count. And just seeing the difference between this uber successful companies and the ones that have the desire to be successful, and the difference between what those two people are doing. And especially in the context of today, in the world of social media and TikTok emerging and Facebook, and the importance of a brand and the cost of leads. So, like, putting all these things together and how growing home service companies can leverage technology, leverage their brand to have people not searching for the industry, but searching for them. And that's how you win in this new world of digital marketing.
Yeah. So is it a lot of storytelling within that, or like, because, sometimes, and I've done this, like, I go, God, we're a window cleaning company. Window cleaning is kind of boring. I mean, you just clean windows. I mean, I think it's fun, but how do I tell that to my future clients other than saying, we clean windows? Are yours dirty?
Yeah. So it's, every industry is different, but focusing specifically on the exterior cleaning world, because that's what the huge convention is. That's my 4th time speaking. Thank you, Sid, for having me again. It's you want to think in the context of what it is. It's not interior painting. It's not hardscapes and renovation construction. It's either like an HOA item, a honeydew checklist item. There's a party. I want to get things cleaned up. It's somebody who's crazy maniacal about their home and wants it done every 2 months. You want to kind of, like, what type of person am I dealing with? This is not the very emotional decision, whereas, like, your concrete coatings, your interior painting, the other services that I mentioned are more emotional. And so it's really about finding the messaging that works for your brand with your goal and your intentions. And it's typically about speed of execution, It's about taking things off the checklist, safety, and then value, stacking value with your services, and then making sure that your brand is the one that is recognized and thought about and sought after. Because I track, and I mentioned this in a lot of talks that I do, there's a direct correlation between brand awareness or people searching for your brand name and then success online. And so you need to start measuring how many people are not searching for your industry, but searching for you, because that's when you know your marketing is working.
Yeah. Okay. That's really cool. That's really cool. We turned our focus to making sure we had a zillion times more reviews than the next competitor. Our goal is to always have 10 times more reviews than the next guy. And we were there for a while, but the other guy had 8 reviews, so it didn't take a lot.
It's hard to keep 10xing 100 and 1,000.
Yeah. So now we've got it's like when somebody got 60 reviews, like, oh no, we only have 400. We got to get 200 more reviews. But we every year we have a contest in May, a review contest, and we pay the guys if they mention their name in the review, and we put up a big bounty, and it works really well. So we've got we're in a small market. We got 540 reviews. But the next client customer or the next company has 61. And I'm like, 61 is a good amount of reviews. It means that you're not brand new. But I wanted to and I'm going to layer this into branding. If somebody's just searching for your service, but not your name, I want to have something available where we stand out so brightly compared to the next guy that the only obvious answer is to call us. And that actually helped our branding by, showing up first in the search.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But then we use that and layer it. God, I am so sorry. I'm doing all the talking, and that is not the intent.
You're preaching. Keep going. It's good.
I wanted to share the story. So this is something I've done for probably 10 years. Anytime a new window cleaning company starts in our town, as soon as I'm aware of it, I just call them and I was like, hey, welcome to the business. Like, I'm a window cleaner. You're a window cleaner. We have probably a lot in common. We should have coffee sometime. How can I help you? And I called a sign popped up, bayonet sign showed up right next to one of ours on my street about a week ago. And I'm like, oh, got to call that guy because it's new. And I called him up and he's like, yeah, I just moved here from California. He was nervous about the call at first because he thought I was going to give him crap about something. I don't know. But during the call, we're going to have a beer next week. But he's like, dude, you are everywhere. I thought you were trolling me. I got your door hanger on my door at my house twice in a month. I'm like, that means you live in our target neighborhood. I don't know where you live.
He's in California. You can probably afford the target neighborhood.
Yeah. But it was to your point of branding. It's like you get to get your brand on point. But then you also have to, plant a lot of seeds. It's like the sower and the seed. The more seeds you plant, the more crops you're going to grow. It's time for me to ask you a question.
No, that was great. Well, there's a lot of ways to build a brand. One thing, so I do some fractional integration coaching with some people as well. Okay. And it's astonishing to see somebody drop 10,000 EDDMs or an RSVP, City Publications, Money Mailer, or whatever. And just to watch the week or 2 weeks after how many people are actually searching for the brand after that happens. And so you can do it paid through EDDM, your door hanger story you just told. So yard signs, flyers, door hangers, whatever it's going to be. Those things on a consistent basis don't take a lot of time or money to get done. At volume, at scale, they do. But the dividends, especially the long-term dividends, are huge because, again, people search for your name. That's your brand.
Yeah. You were at the huge convention last year. Were you in the room at our feature breakout when Tommy Mello spoke?
Yes.
Okay. And I was so happy. He shared a picture of his first van. And it was like the shittiest looking white service van with big black block letters that said A1 garage doors. And he talked about how proud he was. And he showed his current branding and when he leveled up his branding, and it's got the big, the what do you call it? The mascot, and it's a full wrap and it looks really professional and beautiful. And way back in time, we had 2 vans and we decided to wrap one, and it was pretty garbage looking. It was color, but big block letters and, no logo. And we had one van. And I started having, my friends in town are like, dude, how many vans do you have? I see you everywhere. And I was like, that's one. How can you possibly see us everywhere? And then, then we got 4 vans and we got a really nice, we got the nice logo and made it pretty. We tried to jump on the mascot wagon and do that.
Is that new? Yeah.
This is a few years old, so
Okay.
that's our little branding.
Well, it's very small, but yeah, I get the
Yeah,
gist.
and it's small, and we put it that big on the van, so nobody sees it, and I don't know why.
I love it. Yeah.
Why is nobody calling? No, we did that, and then it's like we track a lot of stuff through Responsibility and whatever, and like the number of new clients we get from people seeing our van just because we're out doing work, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's such a like, oh my God, it's just money. But
yeah, you're proof of exactly what I'm going to be talking about. And most people want to be where you are. And I'm just going to be sharing the blueprint of how you most likely got to be where you are. And you're just you're literally with the stories I'm going to tell in my presentation too.
Well, I learned from smart people like Michael Grigery. That's how I learned it.
Just going to go to my presentation, just hit play of this call and just let you go.
Right on. I didn't look up the spreadsheet. Do you recall, are you speaking on Friday or Saturday, or do you know offhand?
Not offhand. No, I think it's Friday. No, Friday afternoon. I'm pretty sure, but I could be wrong.
Okay. I'm going to pull it up real quick. Nope, that's the wrong one. Just so I can see, like, part of the reason that we do the live streams is so people can get to know you. And they're like, holy shit, I got to be in Michael's thing. I'm looking at a spreadsheet in the background. Sorry, I got distracted. So I want to tell them when you're going to speak so they know. You can put it on the calendar.
Yes, there was a change. Something said there was a change recently. When I was out of town last week, I got a notification.
Okay. Always happens when you're not looking, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm kidding. 11 a.m. Saturday, August 24th. You need to be, not you, but you listening, you need to be at the Hermitage Ballroom so you can catch Michael Grigery and understand your brand and understand how to turn that into like accelerating your business and getting, like leaning into that success that you want. So Saturday, 11 a.m. You guys be there.
I'll be there.
Yeah. Woo! Get me there. Sweet. So what else is on the horizon? I feel like, we're these silly entrepreneurs that always go like, when we get things running well, we're like, I'm going to start something new. And you mentioned that you and Dan Plata got together and you got Hire Lead Chill, and which is another business. Now I'm sure there's a lot of crossover with ClickCallSell, but you have anything else on the horizon, or are you just like, okay, you finally realized how busy you are?
No, of course. I've actually been talking to a lot of like my coach, mentors about the feeling. This is not about my presentation, but I think as entrepreneurs, we kind of just get to a certain point and it's like you've maxed out your own individual capacity. I talked about that last year.
Yeah.
And, you settle in this pocket. And as entrepreneurs, you settle into a pocket where your income's good, your team's good, everything kind of just settles in really nicely. And I think that what makes entrepreneurs unique and different is that's a really terrible feeling for a lot of people. So, at least in my situation.
Yeah.
So yes, one of the reasons I want to work with Dan, just to have another income stream, just the partnership, and I trust and respect him as much as anybody I've ever met.
Yeah.
But I'm very close to my Conquer clients and just coaching in general. So I had about 5 months ago, I hired an API developer.
Okay.
To start working on profit coaching and really coaching people to increase their net and gross margins. And so I hired an API developer, and I have successfully connected QuickBooks to an API and Google Sheets to have like data visualization tables and breaking down a budget and building a performance sheet. If you want to see it, Sid, I'll give you the link after the call. But
wow,
you can basically create any scenario imaginable for your business using historical performance. So if you've ever done a budget before, you have to like say, my labor is 22%, and manually type in all 60 items of your P&L.
Yeah.
This preloads all of your past 12 months history so that you can say, now I want to do 5 million. And if you got me talking excited about this, but like your labor is always going to stay the same. Your gas is always going to stay the same. Your credit card processing fees are all going to, like a lot of your stuff as a percentage is going to stay the same. And so this allows you to create any budget template you can possibly imagine in about 10 minutes. Wow. And then the visualization comes in because it'll like ascending or descending, whatever you want, will show you all of your expenses from highest to lowest. So you can prioritize and then put you in buckets, whether you're a unicorn, average, or below, with training videos on how you can increase your labor production or whatever it is.
Wow. So, okay. That's sweet. Yeah. So, and when you do that, so like I'm sure this kind of tool can help you find that magic spot or the sweet spot, because like, my COGS are always going to be 42%, the 42%.
Exactly.
Whether I'm doing $1 million or 10 million, it should stay the same. But my my fixed overhead's not, my admin's, not going to be the same percentage of that revenue.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. And then somewhere in there, it's like, I got so excited when we were I think we were like 600,000 revenue. It was like, we were making money. We're like, there was profit. And then we went to like 900,000. It was like, where's my money? Because we had
that's the Mike Dalkey cash flow purgatory.
Yeah.
I would have come up with that statement. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, well, I need to find, what are the sweet spots within that growth so that I can aim for the sweet spot, like quickly get through the obstacle course and get to the profit pocket. Wow. That's exactly. Really cool.
Well, so it has the ability to look at percentages like your COGS, 42% or whatever, but also you can switch it to a dollar amount. So it's static, like your rent. Your rent's always static. So it'll show your rent not as a fluctuation, especially where you are, where May, June are probably crazy and January is not. So it'll just keep static rent across or whatever you want to be static.
Yeah. Yeah. Those kind of things, like our salary for our ops manager and our office manager. I mean, that's year round. They get some perks and bonuses based on performance, but salary's the same whether we're making money or not.
If you're curious, I'll be happy to share it with you.
Yeah, I would love that. I would really love that. So cool. What else? What are you building? Because you like get into the nitty gritty on the tech side in ways.
I love process. Yeah, I just love process. It's really, I'm just trying to just stack as much value as I possibly can for my agency clients. I mean, I've got my operations manager has been with me since 2014 for 10 years. Like we just run such a good operational ship and the processes are there. So it allows me a lot of like time to do other things. And it's really just about stacking values. How can we build the best websites that load the fastest, convert the highest rate, and then give more things on the back end to stack value while I just build tools and resources that people can then use. So just like getting into the club. And then once you're in, just whatever I can build, if you want to use it, use it.
That's really cool. All right, good. When do you get into Nashville for the huge? It starts this year. We have our pre-show accelerated classes on Thursday, and then the main event starts Friday morning.
Well, I'm going in Wednesday, so I'll be there.
Cool.
I'll be there Wednesday, and I'm leaving Sunday.
Okay.
Well,
nice.
Nashville.
Nice. Well, hopefully it won't be 900 degrees in Nashville this year with 8,000% humidity or whatever it was last year.
Yeah. Well, inside it's beautiful.
Yeah, I know. It's such a beautiful building. All right. One of our trivia questions that I ask when we get a lot of people in live, I can't reuse it tonight because we asked it yesterday, but I didn't know this till I looked it up. The Opryland Hotel is it's one of the top 30 largest hotels in the world.
In the world?
The world.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, that's a big, all right. And I don't recall if that was by number of rooms or by, acres under roof, because it's, it's vast. But they've got 2,888 guest rooms in that place.
That's huge. Well, if you've been to the one in Dallas is bigger than Nashville, I think. So, and it's the same kind of layout concept. Giant atrium. Yep.
Yeah, and that's the Gaylord branded place, right? Yeah.
Yeah, very similar looking.
Yeah, crazy. Well, sweet. Last couple things. I want to say this for you guys watching. If you're coming to the huge convention, you're thinking about it. Kind of the flow goes like this. On Thursday, we have our accelerated classes, and we've got the huge mastermind is going to do an all-day mastermind program. We've got Howard Partridge is doing his 5 pillars to a phenomenal business. And there's a holiday lights training. And we just found out that Sheila Smeltzer and Michael Draper are going to do a residential roof safety class and certification, which is so needed in the industry. Like have people have an opportunity to actually get real answers and training from a pro. But the cool thing for me, because I'm pretty social, is Thursday evening, we've got a live band with our welcome reception. And I am looking forward to it probably more than I should. This is a band that my brother arranged. I've got a brother who's a professional musician in Nashville, and he's toured with everyone under the sun. He's out with Kenny Chesney or somebody. He always throws around names like, oh yeah.
No big deal. Yeah.
I know. I was at his house a few months ago and he's like, hold on, I got to take this call. And he's like, yeah. Okay, Vince, talk to you later. And I went, is that Vince? Who's the big, I'm not a country guy. Vince Gill? I was joking. I said, Vince Gill? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, what? Why is he calling you? He's like, I've got one of his mandolins and I'm working on it. I was like, you really do know everybody. So he connected with this band that he's like, this time next year, you won't be able to get them. Like they will be out of budget. They're on the rise, but now we can get them. I was like, oh,
Nice.
man. Very cool.
Is it a secret, or is this? I mean, is it out?
No, it's out. It's on the website. It's
Okay.
Casey Johns is the young lady's name, and man, they are fun.
Okay, I'm looking it up.
Yep.
What else? Any more questions? What we got to do some more stuff?
I don't know. I kind of got hung up. Okay, yeah, there's a question because I wrote down on my notes bootstrapping to billions. So you've bootstrapped your own company. Here's a question I want to ask. When you're working with Neighborly and you're dealing with a company that's hundreds of millions of revenue, like the decisions and the stress related to the decisions that I make is $1 million company. Mm-hmm. Is there any more stress at a higher level, or is it just like it doesn't matter? Dream bigger.
Well, the dream bigger is there. So the way they're set up, it's like a conglomerate. So they have like the Neighborly corporate structure and the CEO, CFO, COO, all this, the C-suite people. Yeah. They kind of oversee each brand that has a brand president. And so the think bigger really comes in the C-suite going to the brand presidents and saying like, we need to grow, right? Because they're trying to pay off, get their private equity holders as much money as possible. But the biggest difference that I saw there is it's much more strategic and steadfast on the goal. Once they establish the mark where they want to be, all hands, all plans, all tactics, everything kind of support that goal or where they want to be. And so when I was with Neighborly, I went to the CMO, because I'm doing consulting, and I looked at how much money, like 7 figures paying to agencies every year, just for management, not like media buying, like literally just to manage, millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And, I had this whole like spreadsheet because I love spreadsheets. I'm like, look how much money you could save, like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars by bringing it in-house. These people know the brand. They serve the franchisees every day. Nobody's going to do a better job than them. And the answer was like shocking at the time, but kind of looking back now, it makes sense is the brand plans have already been created for this year, right? So for the next 7 months, like we're not making a change. But what we'll do in November of this year is we will present this to the board and present this to the team and see if it's something that we want to explore. And I remember thinking like just so like defeated at that moment in time because I spent all this time preparing this presentation and like this was literally going to save millions of dollars. And it was like, yeah, we're going to table this for 7 months. And it was shocking. Today, they're doing it. It's a lot more in-house than before. Yeah. But it was the strategy is really focused on the objective of where they want to be.
So leaning into that, like what advice would you give to the solo operator, the guy that's got, you got 8 employees, 10 employees? Because what I see a lot is like every other Tuesday, I'll get a wild idea and I'm like, oh, you know what? We should do this. And then, we get halfway into it and I go, you know what would be better? We could do that. So there's good and bad to what you're talking about.
100%. So I deal with this with coaching all the time. So you want to have a plan, right? And everybody like has a moment in time when they've got the trucks and the techs and the team, but they're booked out 6 or 8, 10 weeks, right? And so now they're in the middle of busy season and they see all this opportunity, but they've already kind of built their plan up. So they in June decide, I'm going to go buy another truck and hire 4 more people. And now you don't realize all the other things that come along with that, right? Yeah. Sourcing all the equipment, procuring the equipment, getting the tech team hired, trained up, ready to go while you're in the middle of busy season to have it all put together on August 1st when the summer slumps.
When it's slow.
And so if you can make the plan, but you want to do the preparation for it ahead of time. Like you want to set the infrastructure up. And then when you get to that peak capacity and where you had planned on being, you maximize that because next year you're going to get really good at that. I have a conqueror that I'm coaching right now is 500% increased profitability year over year. Not an exaggeration. 500% more profit year over year. Because you make a plan and you execute on the plan. We don't need to worry about all these distractions or whatever we have going on because we know that we're going to make this percentage of net gross profit and we're going to maximize our productivity here. Next year, if you want to do more, we're going to do that in March, on February and March. So we're ready for the season and look at supporting staff you need to have for that. You need an operations manager, another salesperson, whatever it's going to be. How are we going to accomplish that? That way you're set up for success when it happens. Costs a little bit more in the front end, but on the back end, you make so much more, and headaches are significantly less.
That is really cool. Yeah, I think the old story of the rabbit with the tortoise and the hare.
Yeah.
It sort of applies. They're like,
Mhm.
just run and stop and run and stop. And if you just go, okay, here's the plan. Let's just execute. Yeah, go, and don't veer from it. That's going to make you like really dig into the profit zone.
Yep. And identifying your gaps, knowing where you're wrong. Conquer again, ClickCallSell. So many times people think that they have a marketing problem and a lead problem, but then you peel back one layer of onion and it's like, oh, your closing percentage is 25% and your average ticket's half of what it should be. So it's a sales problem more than anything else. So identifying where your issues are. Is it tech speed production or is it routing efficiency? Like it's always like one or another, and don't just make an assumption, get some data and figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you're doing that, when you're coaching with somebody, like if they don't keep good track, like how do you install a method to get the data that you need to help them make good decisions?
Honestly, that's one of the benefits of having a business coach or something like the Conquer program. Is like it's pretty much mandated. Otherwise, you either quit or you just get so tired of doing it, you just do it out of spite. So you have to have clean books. You have to be able to track your numbers. You have to be able to know where your money's coming and going. Otherwise, you really can't be coached. One of my favorite things to say is I can coach you based on theory, but then it's just a guessing game, right? If I can have actual stats and facts, then it's going to allow me to tell you exactly what's happening in your business. My favorite story, I tell this often, is about JC Chanowski. I was a business coach for 2.5, maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
And one thing JC had, he would probably say this himself, he wasn't the best reading his books 5 years ago, whenever it was. But on our first ever call, he opened up his P&L. And I told him, just by looking at his P&L, how much turnover he had, how organized his office and shop was, how old his vehicles were. I basically told him about his business just by looking at his profit and loss statement.
Yeah.
And that's you're not looking in theory. It's like I know that if your small tools and supplies is 11%, your office is a disaster, and your stuff is just everywhere. I know if your labor is too high, either training a lot or you're paying hourly and there's a ton of overtime. So I can identify all these different things from a business, and not just me, but all the Conquer coaches can.
Yeah.
Can identify all this information, but without the facts, now we're just guessing, right? Now I don't know if it's sales or marketing problem, just who knows? Like, what do you think it is? And we just run down that path, and it could be wrong.
Yeah, man. Okay, interesting. Yep. Was it documentation beats conversation every time? Is that the line I'm looking for? Yeah, nice. Well, listen, we need to wrap up, but is there anything else you want to share, or whether it's advice or just encourage people to come to your breakout or get their ass to the show or whatever, anything on your head you want to share before we go?
Yeah, come to the breakout. I'm at a point in my life and my career now where I just love sharing and giving back and doing everything I can to serve the home service community. So go to clickcallsell.com, fill out a form. You'll get automated emails and just training happening frequently. Work with my company. Don't work with my company. It's fine. If you're an extra cleaner, may not be able to work anyway. We go to the huge convention just because I get to meet our 100 plus clients that we service every single day. So I just love serving. I love giving back, and don't be a stranger. I'm pretty introverted in places like this, so come up to me because I'm probably not going to go up to you. So that's about it.
Right on. Are you having a meetup, a Conquer meetup or anything at the Huge?
I'm not sure if Conquer's normally had a booth. I have not heard anything, but I haven't been as involved in the setup of this year as years past. But okay. I'll have a booth, and I'll be having every meal will be with somebody. So if you're a client or just want to hang out with me, feel free to reach out.
All right, cool. Well, Michael, thank you for spending some time with us tonight. And I'm excited that you're going to be at the Huge. And I always have this idea that, I'm going to get to like you and all my other friends there. We'll get to spend some time and share that meal and that time. And we never get to. It's always high five. It's great to see you. I'll talk to you after the convention.
That's because you're a celebrity, Sid. I'm just going to be just standing like this the whole time.
It's just because there's a lot to be done and there's a lot of people. But, man, what a difference it makes.
Absolutely. I love it. It's my favorite event. Tons of people, tons of education. That's just really fun. You guys put together a good event.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'm glad you're a part of it. So thanks everybody for joining us. We're going to see you in, I think it's going to scroll, Huge convention. See at the bottom of the screen, August 22nd, 24th, Opryland Resort in 21 days. 21 days from today, 3 weeks.
Woo!
Yeah, I got a lot to get ready.
Yep. All right, Sid. Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, Michael. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.